Hello, everybody. As we know, we're coming up to some really important exhibitions, and one of the first in the year to take place is Southern Manufacturing. Now, I've gone to Southern Manufacturing for many, many years, and it's always been just one of those shows that does stand out. Well, this year, I'm pleased to say I've got the opportunity to talk to Mr. Simon Farnfield of EasyFairs to ask him a little bit more about what we're going to get from Southern Manufacturing 2026. So, Simon, thank you so much for your time. Southern Manufacturing Electronics is back for 2026. What makes this year's event unmissable for UK engineers?
Well, it's lovely to be on here. Thank you for inviting me. Southern is landing exactly at the right moment for the UK industry. If you look at Make UK's recent outlooks, manufacturers are under pressure, on several fronts, and they need to drive productivity, tackle some skill gaps, digitalise their operations, and still progress to net zero. And Southern is one of those few events where you can work all of that out within a single visit. It's still the biggest annual manufacturing and engineering week in the UK. So in a hall, you can move from machine building and motion to electronics, control, test, and measurement. So what does that make? What makes this edition particularly unmissable is how it is all applied together. Exhibitors are bringing real innovations, new process technologies, new materials, new digital tools, and showing them live. So you can actually see how they would fit into your products or production lines. And at the time when Make UK is highlighting how much change the sector is going through, being able to condense weeks of online research and emails into a day or two, hands-on conversations makes Southern a really high-value use of an engineer's time. I think that pretty much, for me, makes it feel like it's an unmissable event.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good point that you make. Now, the 2026 event is designed to serve as a live marketplace where ideas meet execution. What does this look like in practice? And also thinking about the development bottlenecks that all engineering people know about, how can visitors resolve this by attending?
It really is a good question. In practice, a live marketplace means you can arrive with an idea or a problem and leave with a realistic execution plan. If you're developing a new machine or a control system, for example, you can start by talking to a subcontract manufacturers about design for manufacturer, walk a few meters, discuss PCB and electronics, look at automation, robotics, MES for the production line, and then speak to test and metrology specialists about EMC, functional test and quality. You're effectively mapping out the full journey from concept to production just by walking the show. The bottlenecks you talk about, you can work on very real ones, time to market, time pressure, compressing weeks of supplier research into a day of face-to-face discussions. It's such a powerful way to speed that process up. There's obviously supply chain fragility. Make UK reports about 2/3 of manufacturers have supply chain disruption. And here you can actively re-engineer your bill of materials for second sources and nearer suppliers, especially with the uncertainty that's going on around the globe at the moment. Digital projects stuck at pilot, seeing that proven end-to-end systems can help you move from experiments to rollout. Compliance and tests, designing EMC and safety in the start of, instead of firefighting at the end. So that ideas meets execution. It's not just a marketplace. I think it's about unblocking the practical things that slow your readers down, the engineers down.
Yeah, no, it's really good. That does make sense. Now, visitors were given the opportunity to meet vendors and experts from across the UK, continental Europe, and beyond. Why is the breadth of that increasingly important at a time when manufacturers are reassessing supply chain resilience and risk?
The last few years have shown how vulnerable long single-source supply chains can be. Between Brexit, geopolitics and logistic issues, Make UK surveys recently suggested a majority of manufacturers have experienced some form of disruption, whether it be raw material shortages, delayed components, or sudden cost spikes. So resilience really now means diversification. And I think you want a mix of a local, regional, global sources. And you want critical items to have more than one route to your factory. You just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, so you really do need to have that view. Southern is a really efficient way to design that in. You can one day sit down with UK subcontractors and component suppliers, talk to some of our European partners about nearshoring and shortening lead times. And then you've still got global brands on the show floor that, where it makes sense. So you're not just comparing unit prices, you're able to weigh total risk and total cost support, logistics, responsiveness and sustainability, all like in one place. So it's not just the geography. Resilience isn't just about the geography. I think it's about the relationships. And at the show, if you're there, you're able to build trust with some of those suppliers. So meeting them face to face, I think it really will help when the next disruption hits. So those suppliers will know your particular disruption or your particular things in a little bit more detail. So that's the power there.
That really does make sense, and quite an important thing in view of the climate that we currently face as well. So the exhibition deliberately avoids rigid segmentation between disciplines. Do you think this is indicative of a broader industry trend towards cross-sector and cross-disciplinary collaboration?
Yeah, I really do think. I mean, look, I'm not an engineer, but I've been with engineers and manufacturers for a number of years now, just talking through their challenges. But most modern products and systems are mechanitronic by default, if I even say that correctly. But they combine that mechanics, electronics, software, and data. So if you're a design or product engineer like your readers are, you rarely think about narrow silos. You're thinking about the whole system, drives, sensors, PLCs, or embedded control, the networking, safety, and diagnostics all together. So by not carving the event up into strict discipline-based halls, Southern encourages that exact systems thinking. So you can go from work holding and motion control straight to sensors and industrial networking, then to automation and MES, then to test and compliance. So this is similar how a project works and actually operate inside companies. So, I think that, and actually that's kind of really how we try and shape all of our shows at EasyFairs, is we're sort of moving away from that. More broadly, Make UK's commentary is that on competitiveness and digitalisation is about integration. So it's joining up that design, production, supply chain and sustainability rather than sort of separating it all out. So that kind of mix is where Southern sort of ticks that box. And I think, that cross-disciplinary way of working is something that we work quite hard on to make sure that we're not sort of creating too many silos and so on.
Yeah, no, I understand that. That's a good explanation of your approach to it. Now, if Southern Manufacturing and Electronics 2026 is a snapshot of UK engineering today, what does that snapshot tell us about where the industry is moving and which technologies or application areas are generating the most momentum?
Yeah, so naturally trade shows move with the industry, and we move with the trends that come there, because that's just how it works. You're always trying to curate the stuff that's on the horizon or just beyond the horizon. So if you treat Southern 26 as a snapshot, there are four clear trends that I've sort of identified that are shown on the show floor. The first is UK engineering has become more digital and data driven. I mean, we all know that, but how the strength of our exhibitors in automation, robotics, motion, sensing, MES analytics shows that Industry 4.4 has moved from that PowerPoint to, alive on the shop floor. So we're seeing much more of that. And that kind of aligns with most of the outlets that the UK talk about, and so it's less. It's not optional anymore. So this is something that we see more. Second is the strength in electronics and embedded intelligence sitting at the heart of that. So we have semiconductors, PCBs through to embedded control, electronics, test, that are, that momentum around smart, connected, efficient systems that underpins, say, EVs or renewables and automation and intelligent versions of traditional industrialized products. Third, we talked about it before, but the supply chains being more redesigned for resilience. That's definitely something we're seeing, and we are having a number of talks around that specifically. They're thinking more around engineers. Your readers will be thinking more around standard modular designs, second sourcing, and sort of balancing their supply chain, whether it be European or UK or even global suppliers. And then lastly, is sustainability. It's still visible in the technologies on the show floor. So you're seeing, just for example, I think there's one of our exhibitors, Matter Labs, doing something around that specifically, which really does showcase something slightly different and around a sustainable option. So those being more efficient with their drives, there's motion, tighter process controls, just anything that can help reduce waste, energy use. That still reflects what the UK is in terms of its net zero commitments. And in fact, we should be hearing today whether we've got the industries minister coming to the show or doing a presentation at the show to talk about that entirely, which is a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah.
I think just a snapshot, we are moving decisively toward that digital side, more resilient and more sustainable. So that's been really seen across the show floor.
Excellent. Okay, you set the stall out for us, Simon. We've got a clear picture of what we can gain by being there, which is incredibly important because one of the other commodities that is equally in short supply is time, and so time needs to be well spent. So we look forward to the show. It sounds exciting. We wish you all good fortune with it as well. Now, if you're watching this and you'd like to make sure that you're present, we're going to provide you with a link which enables you to get advance tickets to make sure that you can get into the show promptly and get the best from the day. So, Simon, thank you very much for explaining Southern Manufacturing Electronics 2026. We look forward to seeing you there, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate the time.